Hi, I'm Paul, and this is The Golf Show. Hey everyone, I'm Paul Hemley and welcome to The Golf Show. On the show this week I'm going to have a wedge fitting. I'm really excited about this. My wedges are 2 years old. I've maybe used them for 100 plus rounds, so I think it's time for some new ones. Plus recently I put a driving iron in the bag, which has meant I've needed to take a wedge out. So I'm down here at Coxmoor Golf Club near Mansfield. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to have a fitting with PXG and master fitter Laurence Pawley. Laurence has fitted me for all my clubs. I think it's really important you get a fitter who knows your game. Okay, that's more than enough from me. Let's get on with the Golf Show. Okay, so I'm joined by Laurence Pawley, master fitter at PXG. Laurence, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you, Paul. You well?
I'm very well, thank you. Great to see you again. Thanks for coming back on the show.
No problem.
So I need some new wedges, and the reason I need some new wedges is mine are a couple of years old.
Yeah.
They've been great, and I've got a gap wedge, which I think is 51 degrees. I've got a 56 and a 60. However, I recently put the driving iron into my bag, so I've decided that rather than take the hybrid out, because I do like my hybrid, I've taken the 60 degree out. So I think we need to have a look at what lofts and what gaps I've got. I don't think 56 is quite enough, but I'm conscious I don't want to get a massive gap between the wedges.
Yeah.
I've never really had a sort of wedge fitting before. You know, when I've been fitted for irons, the wedges, when you fitted me for those, we did the wedges then, but it wasn't a separate wedge fitting. Is it a common thing for people to do?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we probably do sort of like 10-15% of all of our fits will be very specific based around wedges, especially with the new wedges that we've got now. The new Sugar Daddy IIs with the two varying bounces, and then the ability to change the head weight depending on what the player's looking for in the functionality of each individual golf club. We can really dial it in a lot more than what we used to be able to do. So, you know, as a product, these have definitely helped us increase the volume of wedge fits, but also what people are looking for. It helps us fine tune what they want. So.
Fantastic. And I notice it looks a bit different, the back of the head there. You've got the one I've got has got the weights all the way across, and these seem to be more on the toe. Yeah,
so what that allows us to do is obviously you can see the milling is slightly different. The function of a wedge over a sort of set gap wedge is very different. It is a solid bodied golf club, so we are trying to manipulate weight a little bit more through the external geometry of the milling effect. We're just basically, with a full groove face, we're trying to keep the centre of gravity as central as possible. You know, we want it in the middle of the club face to give people the maximum forgiveness and spin. So
fantastic. And you've got two different soles on these.
So depending on sort of the player's approach to shots, if they're a little bit steeper, or if they play golf courses that have quite a soft turf, the BP ground carries a little bit more bounce, so typically about 13 degrees across most of the wedges, and with that just enables the player to be a little bit steeper, hit down a little bit more with the confidence that the club's not going to dig in there. Whereas the C grind has a little bit more versatility, a little bit more heel relief as well for the player that wants to manipulate the loft that little bit more, and also for the player that plays a little bit of firmer turf. So
okay, that'll be interesting, because I feel like my game's in pretty good shape at the moment, but I would say my wedge game is probably the area I'm least confident. Might hit 2 or 3 good ones and then just skull one right across the green, or just fat one and it goes 2 or 3 yards. So it'd be really interesting to see how we get on with the fit.
So for just understanding what you use what for. So I remember we went for the set gap wedge purely on the fact that it was more of a full swinger swing club. So where's the separation between the 56 and the 60? Do they function very differently? Do you favour? Obviously, you can see wear on the 60s a lot more than the 56.
I would use a 60 in a bunker. So obviously I've taken it out of the bag at the moment, so the 56 is doing that job now. I would only really use it if I got into sort of trouble and had to sort of get one over a bunker if I'm short-sided. So that wouldn't get used apart from bunkers very much at all. The 56 would be my sort of 50 yards and in club. And then the gap goes about 115 yards.
And then pitching wedge beyond that?
That goes 133.
So 133, 115, right, okay. So what we want to do is try and give you some functionality through getting rid of one of these. So we still want to not lose any of the disciplines that you use these for. So we still need a bunker club, we still need a 50 yard and in club, and we still need something that's going to go sort of like 100, 110 yards. Loft wise with that, obviously we're going to have to look at something quite a bit stronger than the 56 to cover that gap. And then between here, it's whether we look at a diverse 56, so something that has a little bit of relief, like our C grind, and go sort of like 50-56, or whether we go 52-58. That would be sort of a good splitting option. 50-58 could also work, but ultimately, I think something like a 56 with a little bit of relief will work very well. And also you still have that sort of longer full swing golf club.
Great.
What we'll do is we'll just get you set up. So for this sort of particular shot, we've got about 30-35 yards, probably landing areas maybe 25 yards. Let's see you play your 56 in here. So you use that AVX, don't you?
Yep. And when you do the fittings, you always use good quality balls, I'm guessing, as well, just so you can see the
you want the best ball, or the ball the players are used to playing, because obviously reaction is very much key.
Bit handsy, that one.
Edit that one out.
You're I'll leave them in. Well, I'll leave most of them in. So we had a bit of everything there.
Yeah. So obviously before we've gone into that Acro 90, which is has a titanium weave through the tip section to give you loads of stability. Great for where we were, the synergy between irons going into wedges, make sure that everything matches in. What I think we should be looking at is something a little bit more shaft weighted, looking at how you move the golf club, etc. So I'm just going to try the KBS High Rev. It's a little bit softer, but it's significantly heavier. It's an extra 25 grams over what you're used to playing, but it's a slightly softer flex. First of all, I'm going to try you in the BP ground. So a little bit more bounce in there. Just a standard 8 gram weight in the back of the head. Standard length, similar to what you've been used to playing. Yeah, especially when we're not really, you know, it's not going to be used as a full-blown, full-blooded shot. We want to give you as much awareness of where that wedge is in space and time, so that as you're moving it, you can control it that little bit better. I think maybe where we just lost it a little bit there was that the product might be a little bit too light. Let's just see how we react with something a little bit firmer in shaft. So that one there, which is just a margin heavy, that little bit of extra bounce is just allowing that club to move more. So it's about 3 degrees more bounce than what you're used to playing in your current wedge.
Right.
Take your time.
Thank you. Might edit that one out.
Yeah, I would. I'd have thought leaving you out here for an hour would have given you plenty of time.
I must have used all the good ones up.
I'll blame myself then. There we go, much cleaner.
Feels nice as it comes off the face.
It's good. When you think about that last one as well, where the contact was on the face, see how quickly that still stopped? Obviously those full grooves, is what they're there for. When you do have a marginal missed strike, you still generate plenty of spin, lots of stopping power, so just makes it that little bit more forgiving. There you go. Hear the difference in the contact. You say you've got confidence at an all-time low at the moment.
In the wedges,
And is that just through what's happening now? Right, okay. What we should probably look at then is with the length of stroke that you're imparting on the golf ball, okay, it's very much here, right? It's at least a half swing for something that is very, very small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bigger loft, and for you, what I think for your confidence, I definitely manipulate it open a little bit. I do feel we need a little bit more bounce. There's 10 on this 58 already. It is the C grind, so as you open it up, it will allow that sort of back trailing edge just to be interacting with the ground a little bit more. But I think just having a little bit more loft with the length of swing means that you can commit to it that little bit easier. We can keep the speed on.
Thank you.
Similar weighted shaft, so we're in the Elevate Tour this time. So how it reacts with the ground should be quite similar, but you should be still not look as though you're lifting that leading edge massively off the ground. There we go, that's a nice nippy one. Oh, almost stopped on the spot. There we go. I think you need that ability to feel like you can, you know, you like that length of swing. Obviously it's a comfort thing. So I think having a little bit more loft available to you just enables you to have that ability to hit it firmer, commit to the shot that little bit easier. So when you look at those last two shots, you're generating a load of spin there, a little bit more separation the more loft you add, hitting down on it still, lovely little tufty divots. And you know, this isn't a firm turf by any stretch of the imagination, but the turf here will be quite similar to Fulford. And obviously having that ability to, you know, when you're up at St Andrews as well, take that bounce off by having it more square bladed.
Right,
You'll still have the functionality of it. Where the Elevate will offer you great feedback is the fact it has a VSS core in there.
Right.
So there's a silicon spiral within the shaft that stops vibrations. Again, thinking about what you've got in terms of, you know, your tennis elbow and so on.
That's interesting.
I think with where your game is at, we're probably going to have to go this slightly more lofted option, or we look at I'll put the C grind in the 56 and see how that works when we manipulate that open as well, so that we can get some commitment to the shot. So if you grab those, I'll just reset that 56 up.
Wow.
So I mean, it just changes your thought process about it.
Oh, maybe not the ability, just the thought process.
Loads of spin on those as well.
How often should somebody change their wedges, Laurence? Every couple of years? Every 100 or so rounds?
It's a tough one. Obviously, it depends on how much they look after them.
Sure.
I would always say for sort of like your high lofted, your real spinning one, probably every year or so. Like your 56 to 60, maybe 62, 64, depending on how regularly they're used. Maybe your 50s, your 48s to your 54s, maybe less so. But again, it's all about the function and it's where you play. You know, if you play a lot of links golf, there's going to be a lot of sand interaction on that club face. It's like rubbing sandpaper across it. You're going to really wear those grooves down much faster than someone plays on an inland parkland course. So yeah, typically high loft, well used clubs, wedges sort of every year. Lesser used, lower loft, probably every 18 months or so.
Okay, cool, brilliant.
And again, it's the quality of balls that you use. You know, you're using a newer ball all the time. It's how abrasive are you making the impact on that club face.
Interesting.
But yeah. So we're going to go down a little bit in loft here, back to that 56. Same grind. So when you look at the sole on here, same shaping from heel, from toe to heel. There's that arcing shape around the sole, just to give you that little bit more versatility. Same number of bounce, so 10 degrees on there. Remember that the loft's there. All you got to do is just bump that club into the turf. There you go. I like that. Nice. Lovely shot.
Nice spin on that.
So you see the functionality of it, even though we've gone down a little bit in loft, because of what we're trying to do with opening that club face up, you can still generate huge amounts of spin and stopping power. So when you try to play this over things, there's still that huge amount of stopping power. You can still loft it up as well if you wanted to.
You've got the confidence that it is going to stop.
And the ability to still have a nice aggressive long swing. You know, getting that commitment to it. Lovely. See, I like that a lot. What we'll do now is we'll just take that one into the bunker and see how we get on. I'll bring that 58 as well, just so that we can have some comparison. What we want here is that you still have that ability. You know, this is quite a highish lipped bunker. Lovely shot. We still want that elevation, we still want that stopping power without, you know, compromising the loft that we put in.
Not a bit handsy. Wow, that's dancing around.
Stopping quickly, aren't they?
Incredible.
Lovely shot. Well out.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so what we'll do, we'll then just pop you on this bit and just see whether we can play some short ones as well. Super loft on that.
Wow.
See,
yeah.
And this is where it is, just understanding what you do and how you deliver the club. And obviously, I get it, you know, you're going through a tough time, but we have to work a little bit on what's going to help you with that, but also give you some versatility. Like you said at the start, we've got a driving iron in the bag now, and you really want to keep that hybrid. So if we're going to go from sort of a 4 wedge system to 3, functionality of where you play, how you play, and what we've got to do in terms of what we've got to get out of the shots we need to play. Obviously, learning with those new tools is something you'll have to do post the fit in. But I think, you know, understanding what we need to put in the bag and so on. It's also not being afraid to play, you know, 56 is your highest lofted club. If, you know, there's always that ability to add something in a little bit weaker if you needed to, but I'd prefer you to have that ability in that C grind to have something that you can manipulate open. A little bit more head weight in there will always help with the feel of the club. But that just shows there, you know, this is a downhill, bare lie. It's obviously got a bit of sand on from where people have walked in and out of the bunkers to, you know, quite a tightish couple of flags there. And you've hit it super elevated, great stopping power because the land angle's been quite steep. And it's obviously got loads of spin because, again, it's stopped very quickly.
I mean, that versatility is like having 2 clubs in one. You know,
exactly.
You're not worried about opening it up. I'm not thinking it's going to go over there.
And what I like about this is also we've kept with the loft that you use the most. So a confidence building, you've got a 56 that your game is very much attuned to. We've just basically taken that and added some more versatility to it.
Oh, that was a bit risky, that one.
Bit quick with the hands.
Yeah,
that
it
time.
was one. Yeah,
take your time. Lovely.
Yeah.
Great stopping power again.
Incredible, one bounce, yeah. Yeah, I like
Lovely
that.
shot.
I like that.
Yeah, good.
Great. Perfect.
So we go with a 56. I think I'd prefer you to stick with this elevate just because of, you know, understanding your game more than just today. I think the VSS is going to really help keep that elbow out of it a bit. And obviously we'll go with your normal sort of MCC grip.
And what are you thinking for the gap replacement?
We'll have a quick look. We'll test it. Like where you feel comfortable. For me, numbers wise, we obviously want to make sure you're hitting that 100 board. So we can either do it out on the range or we can go indoors. Obviously, going from a set wedge into a more specialist wedge, we need to make sure that the golf club matches the yardages that you find on the golf course. The reason we put the gap wedge in before, we found that 110, 115 yard quite regularly. We need to look and see what goes on here and what's going to be best. Is it 52? Is it 50? Do we need to maybe go 51 in the middle, or you know, we can bend it. Lovely shot. Just shy of 100.
And
that's with 50. Obviously, this is where the sort of the difference in the materials and so on. Like I said, that gap wedge before was obviously a weaker loft, 1 degree weak, but it's also a much bigger product. So it does offer more ball speed. What we can do here is I'm just going to take this out the back, just going to make it 49 and see whether that does the job for us. Because ultimately, between the 56 and your pitching wedge, there's going to be a huge gap. We just need to find something that sits in the middle. And it may be that actually we go, okay, well, there's only so much we can do with this, and if this is the route we want to take, we're just going to have to go, well, actually the new yardage, we have to find more 100 yards than 110. Fraction more ball speed, picked about 3-4 yards. No, what's good about it is obviously the perimeter weighting, the toe weighting, etc. That landed only 1 yard difference with just 1,000 revs less. It's still 8,000 revolutions of spin, so still loads of stopping power. It's only jumped forward sort of 2 yards. Lovely shot. With this slightly stronger lock, it's still 102, 103.
Yeah.
.104. I think we're squeezing it there. If we make it any stronger, then all of a sudden we're just getting closer and closer and closer. I'd stick 49, 56 pitching wedge, that elevate tour shaft, and then we'll match the lies in with what you've got with your current.
That sounds great. Excellent.
All right.
Brilliant, that's great. Laurence, thanks so much for your time, I really do appreciate it.
No, always a pleasure.
He's been very patient with me today, guys. I had a few dodgy wedges out there at first. I was a little bit nervous filming in front of everybody, but Laurence has been great, so thank you very much, mate. If you enjoyed that, guys, give us a like. If you're new, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you next time on The Golf Show.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the episode of The Golf Show. To watch another, click here. To subscribe, click here.